Hi everyone, welcome back to our AND series with Next Gen Builders. I'm Saujanya. Today I am with Samarth, who is driving the world of luxury, design, and real estate innovation. He's someone who is not just creating homes but telling stories through them. Samarth, what are your views on how luxury is shaping up, especially in the housing space, and what are you guys trying to do?
I think the space of luxury is a very, very exciting space in India.
Yeah.
Um, Recently, I was at uh, an event, which was a very educational event, that spoke about how the audience that most brands are catering to, just from a business perspective, in India has changed drastically, right? We grew up uh,
Mhm.
really thinking that money is with the masses. Everyone about a decade ago was chasing to build a mass brand
Yeah.
catering to about 80% of India, right? That was the aim, to make a substantial amount of value in a company.
Mhm.
Now, in the last 5 years, I would say, the trend has changed to actually catering to 10% of India. If you look at most brands from a fast fashion perspective, from even a real estate perspective, all of it is kind of now catering to that 10% of India, which is a space that's growing very rapidly.
Today, with all the digital approaches that are available to the customer, it has become possibility today, which wasn't possible 10 years ago or 15 years ago,
Yes,
right?
yes, it's become a possibility today. There's also a change in mindset when it comes to consumption. I
Mm.
believe the Indian audience has always had money, but we were
Mm.
very conservative in our mindset when it came to spending.
Yeah.
And spending on things that weren't necessities wasn't a part of our culture back then. I think with the rapid globalization, with a little bit more exposure that's come in, and changing mindsets post the pandemic, especially, we have shifted to being okay with consumerism, which
Yeah.
has fueled this audience of the 10% growing into becoming probably India's largest consumer for all brands that are creating anything in business. And that also has fueled the entire space of what we call luxury real estate in India. Very interesting stat to me was that in the year 2023, which was one of the best years for Indian real estate per se, across the board, that was the first year that luxury real estate, luxury housing actually outsold affordable housing from a value perspective
Value.
ever in the history of Indian real estate. That was the first year ever. So these
Mm.
kind of things are very key trends to be mindful of. You have M3M builders that's actually brought in a Jacob and Co branded building into Delhi NCR, right?
Mm.
So all these things are very strong indicators about
Yeah.
the space of luxury real estate and how rapidly it's growing across India. What we're trying to do in that space is a bit different from what everyone else is. So we have a brand called Boheim
Muhem.
that is just started 3 years back.
Right.
Um, and we've started it with the intention of being India proud, right? Um,
I
I'm
know
s
you add a lot of
Yes,
art and craft into the
yes,
housing, the luxury housing. How do you do that? It's
yes,
very interesting for me as a concept. I mean, for
yes.
me, because I love craft and art.
Yeah, so we started with the intention of not wanting to be cookie cutter, firstly, right?
Okay.
It has to resonate because also we're in the space of luxury. It has to resonate with the homeowner's personality. It has to be
Mm.
something that's unique to them, right?
Right.
So we kind of really go back, and each project comes with its own complete design sensibility. And then, while you're talking about it, and you're very interested in the crafts and art that is used in our spaces.
Mm.
It's used in every real estate project. It's just that it's not spoken about enough. So
Right.
we are here to tell that part of the story. When we talk about, say, tile laying, okay,
Mm.
the whole craft of tile laying, your best tile layers come from Rajasthan. Now,
Yes.
everyone uses these tile layers from Rajasthan if you're doing real estate predominantly.
Yeah.
No one talks about it. No one is giving them the credit that they deserve, right?
Yeah.
We have a bunch of hand painting that is done in our villas. So those hand painters typically come from Coimbatore or Udaipur, right? You have and some local Goan hand painters if you're in the Goan market.
Yeah.
We've used these styles called Azilio styles, and there are only four people in India. It's a very specialized handmade tile craft, and there are only four people in India who kind of can do this. And all four of them are Goa-based artists, right? So there are all the people who are actually involved in the space of real estate are artisans and craftsmen. Unfortunately, we've maybe industrialized it so much that we end up calling them laborers and don't give them the credit
Yeah.
for the craft that they actually have and have been passed down from generation to generation. So Boheim is built with the intention of being India proud and bringing to light these crafts that have existed in India and how India has been a master at architecture for millennia. It's
Yeah.
just that we don't know about it enough. And I think we're at a place in the country now where we have genuine pride in our country. I think that was lacking in us for a long, long time,
Mm.
having been battered by colonialism. Took away our pride in the country. But in the last decade or so, the pride in the country has come back, and that's fueling so much of exciting opportunities in India. And we want to
Yeah.
be one of those people kind of being at the helm of that India pride, and also kind of telling the story of Indian architecture, Indian real estate through the projects that we make and showcase and through the story that we tell.
Yeah, so nowadays I see a lot of change in people in terms of being very expressive about
Yes.
themselves. Their
Yes.
personalization has become such an important thing, right? So, how does
Yes.
it tie back to their story coming out into real life through their house? So,
Yeah.
can you tell me a little bit? Because a core element of Bohem, as I learn, is the storytelling aspect, right? So, how do you tie
100%.
together this
100%.
craftsman, this homeowner, and the house coming in as a vision?
Right. So first, I think it's necessary to also understand that the space of real estate is a very important asset class, right?
Yeah.
It's something that people are also it has huge value as an asset. So we wanted to also kind of up the premium value of that asset. So what we did instead of going out and because we want to be India proud, we
Mhm.
went and created what we call this space of Indian branded real estate, right? So while we've heard of these buildings in Miami and Dubai, which is your Jacob and Co building, or you have your Bugatti building, or you have a Missoni building, and the space of branded real estate was created. We said we don't want to bring in someone from the West, just,
Mhm.
we have so many aspirational designers and um, so many, stalwarts of design in this country. Let's bring them into the space of real estate and create our own Indian branded real estate space, which we've done. So we have Gauri Khan as one of our partners who's designed a bunch of projects for us.
Mhm.
And we have Abujani Sandeep Khosla, who've designed a bunch of projects for us. Now we're bringing in Kunal Rawal, who's designing a project for us. So what this does in itself, right, and why I'm telling you this is every project becomes unique because these guys think differently. I don't fully go for people who are professionally trained in a particular space unless it has a technical requirement. But in
Mhm.
design, if you're trained in a space, you're kind of restricted by the boundaries of your education. These guys are not trained in that space, but they have such an interesting thought process.
Mhm.
And they are also they've been in the space of luxury for decades now, so they understand luxury better than anyone else. So
Yeah.
that kind of combination has already kind of managed to give people something exciting, right? With
Yeah.
that kind of something unique, something exciting, and every project becomes unique in its own way.
Right.
To go forward and further how we can personalize a product for our customers is we have a bunch of options that they can choose from,
Okay.
in terms of the colors that they like. There's a preference sheet that pretty much goes out to our customers in terms of what tastes they like, what smells they like, what colors they like, a whole plethora of things in terms of to understand what is their sensibility and what are the things that they are fond of. And then a lot, even apart from just the interiors of a home, a lot more is customized. So we are a very sensory first brand, right? We do things within our projects that are designed to stimulate all five senses and create a sense of calm and create a sense of relaxation, right? Because
Right.
whether it's your primary home, whether it's a second home, home is meant to be your escape. It's meant to be your sanctuary. It's meant to be the space where you feel the safest, feel the calmest, it's where you're making your fondest memories, right?
Right. Absolutely.
So what we do is we so say you like a certain kind of taste, we'll
Mm.
curate your landscaping with those kind of fruit bearing plants. Say you like a certain type of smell, we'll create your space with those kind of fragrant plants. We have automated aroma dispensers in all our projects that infuse a sense of smell that's known to calm you down. We use flowing water in all our projects because of the sight and sound of flowing water is known to calm you down.
Yeah.
So things like this are done after taking a preference list from each client, sorry, to understand what they like, and really give them a space that feels like home. Because the feeling of home is what we're trying to create. Anyone can build a house. Can we really engulf you in that feeling of home that feels so comfortable and so you is
Yeah.
what we try to do through doing these different things.
That's really marvelous. Yeah, I feel like
Thank you.
living in one of those houses myself because I have a
Thank you.
very, very sensitive sensory kids.
Right,
Apart from
right,
texture, smells
right,
really activate them, and
right,
texture is something that really can't handle them. So even the
right,
furnishings and everything in the house have to be chosen very carefully as per them.
right,
That's
right.
beautiful.
That's
Yeah.
very
So
interesting. Yeah.
how? Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
how do you think post-COVID, uh, how has the luxury industry in housing evolved? Because we have seen that a lot of people started working from home. They've had their own home-based work desks, and they're
Yeah.
looking for higher, bigger square feet area to live in. So, what are
Yes.
the trends that you observed, and what does Bohem do to cater to these changing, evolving needs?
So I think two things, right? I'll give you a very interesting story that I heard about one of these projects in Thane,
Mm-hmm.
in Bombay. This project was actually stuck for about 7, 8 years. It
Okay.
wasn't selling because they had built bigger sizes than Thane was used to, right?
Mhm.
This is pre-COVID.
Right.
As soon as COVID kind of hit and the pandemic came in, this project ended up selling out in 4 months because people's requirement changed
Suddenly changed.
overnight to wanting larger homes and wanting a bigger space, right? And
Yeah.
wanting that one room that becomes a space that you can work from. You know, right now, I think most of work culture across the board has become hybrid, right? Whether you are still in a traditional office environment, you want a space that still allows you to work from home. I think that's one trend that has happened. So you have to factor in, while designing a home, you have to factor in that additional space. It's not just about the bedrooms and all that. There has to be that extra space that becomes a space that people can work from. Either it's within
Working.
the home, people prefer it within the home. Can you build it within into the community? That's one thing
Yeah.
that is very necessary. I think secondly, what has become very important and what is a trend that is now picking up rapidly, but it's very nascent in my opinion, is India as a nation now has moved more towards being conscious about their well-being, right?
Mm.
Um, the pandemic kind of made people realize how important the body is, how important it is to take care of your body and your environment and the climate and all of that. I think the trend of wellness real estate is a trend that is going to pick up hugely
Huge.
in the next few years.
Mm.
We are entering that space ourselves, but I think that's a trend that's hugely going to catch pace in the next few years, and people are very looking for things that kind of add value to their well-being. Third, I think because of this culture of work from home, a culture of also the world getting used to working remotely now and not requiring to be in a physical space, led to newer markets growing
Right.
in terms of real estate. Like Goa, for
Yeah.
instance, is a
Yeah.
direct kind of result of this thought process where
Mm.
a lot of people wanted to get away from the hustle bustle of life, and their work environments now allowed them to do that. A lot of freelancers now didn't need to be in the space. They'll probably fly in for a meeting and go back to Goa where their home is because it's also creatively more stimulating for them. The
Yeah.
environment is a nicer space for people to be in, you know. So I think these markets like Goa, Kasoli, uh, up north, and a lot of these markets have kind of sprung up
Mm.
because of this culture of work from home. And I think third, which is a large part of luxury real estate, I think tier two India now,
Mm.
because of the shift in mindset, a lot of tier two India, which always had the money again, according to me, is now moved towards not thinking that it's aspirational to move into a metro. right? They're not looking that I have to move to a Bombay or I have to move to a Delhi.
No,
They are
that's
now
right.
in the phase that our cities are good enough for
Mm,
us. Let's build out our cities, right?
correct.
Be it a Chandigarh, I've heard of a 80-acre township that's coming up in Ludhiana now. Jaipur
Mm,
is a very exciting real estate market. Indore, Bhubaneswar, Hyderabad, Ahmedabad are still
that's right.
metros in there
Metros.
already. But even these newer metros are coming up largely where now these people want to build out their own identity. Pune,
Right.
they are investing and into their own markets instead of finding it aspirational to shift to a Bombay or shift to a Delhi, right? So that's fueling a lot of India's luxury real estate growth. And I think there need to be more brands that are catering to these tier two markets because they're very exciting markets to deal in.
This tier two market is very interesting for me because
Yeah,
conservatively, I am from a tier two
right,
upbringing and all of that.
right,
There
right.
used to be a lot of conservatism about spending on anything, right? And show of wealth was never the situation, right? It's
Yeah,
always that conservatism, saving the nest, creating the nest for tomorrow.
yeah,
Or even if you are like really rich, don't show it off because
yeah,
that's not accepted, especially in the
yeah,
South, right? So where I
yeah,
come from.
yeah,
So why or how do you think it has changed? And how has the housing started being delinked from show off? Today, house is
yeah,
not about showing off.
yeah.
It has more become about comfort, the way you have defined. The
Yes,
the
yes,
subtlety has changed. Earlier, people would call, invite friends, and show them the house. Today, it's about my house is my sanctuary. I have this private space where I will
yes,
unwind, relax, and all of that. So why do you
yes.
think that shift is happening, and how are the tier two also getting onto the bandwagon, missing this whole show off like season before they land in this comfort kind of thing?
Look, I think what we have to acknowledge that for now, right? India's at a sweet spot when it comes to age, right?
Mm. Yeah.
Um, we are a young country for now. I
Mm.
think that is changing as we go
Changing.
ahead. We are becoming an older country, but
I
we are at
agree.
that sweet spot right now
Mm.
where that there is a thinking gap between generations that
Yes.
was there. So the older generation was more conservative, like you said,
Yeah.
um, which had its own pluses and
Plus
minuses. The
minuses.
newer generation is more exposed, is what
Mm.
I'd say, is more
Right.
exposed to the world. Even if you've not traveled the world so much, you're exposed to the world through the world of social media,
Correct.
right? So there's so much more information available to you. There's so much more options available to you in just terms of exposure, which is now kind of assimilating and kind of being resonated within the consumer patterns that we see in society,
Yeah.
right?
The alternative thinking is coming into their mind through social media, and then they are validating it for themselves and saying
Yes.
this is something that works.
That
Makes sense.
combined with this is just my theory, and I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
it's
No, no,
validated,
it's
but
good, right? Right, good.
this combined with we have to acknowledge that the pandemic was a very drastic event in everyone's lives. It
Yeah.
did reshape people's thinkings of life for sure, right?
Yeah.
It questioned it made the concept of mortality very in your face, right? We were sitting for 3 months at our homes with a lot of uncertainty about around us, not knowing what will happen. It made us appreciate the concept of life and mortality, right? So I think that was a very drastic, while I think it's not maybe spoken about enough, I think it was a very drastic change in mindset was created by the pandemic in
Right.
itself, which has fueled a lot of this. People started to want to indulge in their lives more. What are the things that make them happy? What are the
Happy.
things that kind of, if my home is making me happy, I'm happy to spend on my home and make it the way I want to make it.
Right.
The concept of compromise kind of went out the window a little bit
Mm.
more, and the concept of living life for today
Today.
came into the picture a little bit more, which
Mm.
I think that combined with with multiple different theories, multiple different ideologies, uh, being exposed to through the world of social media, if not through travel. I think people also are traveling way more than they used to, and travel's
Right.
become easier than it used to be. So I think all these factors have led to more of an eclectic mindset, and not the traditional mindset.
Tradition.
And it's been a rapid kind of evolution that has happened. This
Yeah.
evolution would have taken longer, but because of all these things happening, I think there's been a rapid evolution, um, which has also led to this entire environment being created, which I
Yeah.
love,
Yeah.
by the way. I I
And
like what's happening.
I love being part of the both the worlds. Like I love
Yes,
having seen this whole older way of thinking and the merits of
yes,
it, and the whole new way of thinking. And we work with a lot of Gen Zs in the office, and the whole
yeah,
thinking is kind of completely different. And I love the contrast. We are
yeah.
lucky in some way to see this transition in front of our eyes. So,
I think you've nailed. I mean, you've pretty much described Boeing with that
yeah,
statement. Yeah, because we
yeah,
say
you're doing
what we
the
dis
bridging.
yeah, what we call ourselves is vintage in the 21st century is what we are. So
Yeah,
combination
true.
of both words. Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
on that, about coming to the 21st century part, you're also doing a lot of tech integrations into the houses. Can you throw some light on the whole smart homes, how they are
Yeah.
developing, and what you are doing to become that bridge between the traditional homes and also now the modern homes?
So I think, automating homes has been around for a long, long time.
Hmm.
Um, for me, the real tech excitement in terms of integration is what you can do with your home now from a wellness perspective.
Hmm.
Now, I'm not someone who's very kind of in your face about wellness, right? I
Hmm.
think it's important to be active and to be healthy and all of that, but I'm not so kind of obsessed with the idea
Hmm.
of it. But I
Hmm.
do think that it's very important for your environment to enable you
Hmm.
without you having to do anything. Your
Hmm.
environment should enable you to have good health benefits, to have
Yeah.
good wellness benefits, right? And I think there's a lot of tech that has been developed in that space. So, like
Hmm.
I told you, we'll be now in Alibag, we're launching a project
Yeah.
which will be India's first well certified building, which
Hmm.
will also be India's first integrated wellness project. So we are actually working out what all we want to integrate in it, but you'll be living in that space, not even recognizing it, not having to put in any effort into it, but the space will be working, your house will be working to add to your well-being every day. So things that will be done, stuff like, you have stuff like posture correction flooring, which you're not doing anything, you're just walking on a certain thing that's helping
Hmm.
improve your posture. We have vitamin C infused showers, so you're having a normal shower, but then your skin is absorbing vitamin C. We
Hmm.
have advanced air purification systems, so you're just naturally breathing cleaner air. We have the buildings are all biophilic in nature, so there are natural UV filtration and air filtration systems in place. We have technology built in mental health hacks where just simple things like circadian lighting. You won't even
Hmm.
recognize it, right? But the lighting
Hmm.
in itself kind of adjusts from day to night, which helps with your sleep patterns, with your heart patterns. All of that is kind of taken care of seamlessly. So without you even realizing it,
Hmm.
this home of yours is just making you a healthier person, and you're not having to put in too much effort
Hmm.
into doing anything for it, right? So I
Yeah.
think for me, the most exciting tech that exists and is being really developed rapidly is in this space of how do I make my house work for me without me having to do anything for it? You know,
There's this book called Atomic Habits, very famous. You would have read
right.
it also. It
Yeah,
says
right.
you have to design your spaces based on what you want to prioritize and do in your
100%.
life. And
100%.
I think you're bringing it alive for me. Like the way I've
100%.
interpreted it, I have done is I keep my books around me. I make sure
Right.
that there is bedlight lamp so that I can read when the kids are sleeping. So
Yes.
I've done small,
Yes.
small tweaks, but you have taken it to altogether a new level and start
Yeah.
making the home work for you rather than the other way around.
Because
Yeah.
technology now enables us to do it,
Enables that.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
why not? I mean, I'd rather use technology can be a double-edged sword. So let's use it for the good things that exist.
Yeah, some of these standards that you're talking about, I mean, I'm sure you've gone to Goa and Alibag and many other places, but these sound to me like standards of international levels. So, are you planning to take this bohem and also the Indian technology, Indian styling to the world's platform? Because globally, also there
Yes.
is an appreciation for our craft and culture, right?
100%. So we are an ambitious company. We want to
Mm-hmm.
champion this India story on a global level. So like we say within our organization is we want to be one of India's first truly global Indian companies, right? I think
Mm-hmm.
there are multiple global companies that we've allowed to come into our country that we see all around us. There are very
Mm-hmm.
few Indian companies that have gone to the world, right? We want to be one of the one of the true Indian born companies that go out to the world and champion this India story across the world. That's our vision.
How, so this sounds like a lot of customization. So how do you plan to scale? I mean, for us, when we are operating in niche, it's always this question of being very, very specific at the same time also being scalable. What is your approach? What is your take on this?
So we've put a lot of effort into building out the right teams that
Mm-hmm.
can manage a certain capacity of work. Right
Mm-hmm.
now, we've also kind of identified how much capacity of work can be managed by that particular team. But now it's just a factor of replicating those teams as the quantum of work goes up. So
Yeah.
anywhere we go in the world, we'll be able to manage because it's been 3 years of detailed R&D on what is
Mm.
working, what's not working, how we can do what we can do, and now we finally reached a place where we think we're confident with what we're doing, right? So it's just now a factor of replication of those teams as the quantum of projects go up.
Right.
But every market, of course, presents its own learning. So when we enter new markets is when we'll know more about what's working, what's not working. We also do detailed analysis before we enter the market on what a majority of people like, so that we can already design close to what we think people would want. So
Want.
there's lesser kind of tweaks that need to be made. But it's a factor of it's a factor of two kind of things that you have to kind of integrate. One is human resources are human resources. Human resources can't be replaced in any form or manner. So we've set that up. Now can we replicate those forces as we go and do more projects? The second thing is now with the inclusion of AI and technology and the way that's building out, processing time has become lesser.
Yeah.
I can today typically with there are people doing something, there are people doing things in the space of home decor and in the space of real estate that are very, very kind of targeted to these industries. So while we hear of the mid journeys and we hear of all these larger AI platforms, there are more kind of targeted AI platforms that are catering to these industries. So we are
Right.
partnering with people like that to integrate into our systems, where then the processing time for me to create something customized becomes like 5 minutes as compared to
Mm.
5 days, right?
Mm.
Because the prompts, it gives you things immediately. So we can show quicker results to our customers saying that, okay, if you like this, we've got your brief. This is what we've designed for you. Are you okay with it? Are you not okay with it? And then we go ahead and kind of also do then go ahead and manufacture and execute and do all of that.
Yeah.
But what we
Good
try
strong
doing
cycle time.
largely is every project of us comes with three, four, depending on the size of the project, either three, four, or more different templates that have
Templates.
already been differentiated. So those templates take care of a lot of the people say that, okay, I want this, I don't want this. And then we allow people to customize within the template, saying that, okay, I want a room from here, I want a thing from here. So it's creation of these templates, a combination of the human resources that we've created and the replication of the human resources and these AI platforms that allow us to do what we're doing at the company right now.
I really like the way you're thinking scale
Yeah, yeah,
and how you're
yeah.
designing things, making things happen. So, from
Thank you.
your perspective, I mean, having made this journey, where are the gaps in the industry? If a small entrepreneur want to start off and do something in the luxury housing space, what are the opportunities that you would want them to do so that you benefit on your projects, or any other opportunities that are sounding interesting to you that somebody can pick up and run with it?
So it really depends on what the person's interest and capabilities are.
Of
We
course.
have to be cognizant of the fact that if you're looking at entering real estate as a space to build and sell, that's a very expensive ordeal,
Expensive.
right? It's a
Yes.
capital intensive ordeal. So that would be a tough barrier of entry
Mm.
for people but I think there are multiple ancillaries around it that
Correct.
people can get into, right?
Mm.
Like I just said, the space of AI tech
Mm.
in real estate. There's a
Yeah.
lot of optimization required in the Indian real estate space, at least from an efficiency perspective.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at where other countries are and where India is from a building from an building
Planning.
efficiency, planning I think is still decent. From an efficiency of execution perspective, I think we're still a
Okay.
little lacking. So I
Okay.
think there's a lot that technology can solve for in that
Mm-hmm.
particular space. So I think someone
Mm-hmm.
can come in and build out tools to help with that space,
Okay.
right? So if someone is a software engineer, if someone has AI training and is good at coding and all of that, they can really use that to create something around the space of, in the space of luxury real estate to cater to that. Customization, like we spoke about, is a thing. How do I create real world customization? Very easy for me to say that, okay, I'll create a tool that will help you design. Can you create a tool that will help me design and execute, right?
Hmm.
So it has to be practical design
Hmm.
for me to present to my consumer, to my customer, so that I don't lose out in the day by overcommitting to someone. I have to know that, okay, this is doable. It's doable in the price that I've decided. So can someone create tech and tools around that? I think second is across the world, and now India has the scale and the capacity to use new building technologies. Can
Hmm.
you identify different building technologies across the world that optimize our construction costs, our construction times, and bring it into the country?
Hmm.
Right? Can you create new building materials that
Yes.
solve for multiple issues that the Indian real estate space has been facing?
Hmm.
So I would go to the ancillaries around the
Studies.
luxury real estate space and see if I can create a business in that, because the space in itself is a capital intensive space. Unless you have the capital to enter it, it's very exciting
So
if you have
both
the
on the
capital to enter it.
ancillary. Understood.
Yeah.
Both on the ancillary side and
Can
also
I
the
also help?
implementation side.
Yeah, so also on the sales side,
Sales
maybe.
side.
Now
Hmm.
the sales
Hmm.
requires no capital, right?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
can you build out through technology? Can you optimize my sales from an
Hmm.
AI kind of assistant perspective? Can using AI, using different kind of, I'm not fully sure, but using different tools, can you build out tools that help me optimize sales, help me target my, can my marketing spends become more targeted to my customer audience?
Right.
And can you build out tools that do that for me? So I think there's a lot on the ancillary side that can be done.
Sounds very exciting, and especially what you are doing at Bohem really
Yeah.
makes me feel like buy a house with you guys and stay in
Yeah.
it
Thank you.
forever. So
Thank you.
lovely talking to you, Summer. Thank you so
Same here,
much for your
Sajani.
time.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing a lot of more of your projects and a lot of people
Absolutely.
living happily in them.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was great chatting with you, Sajani.
Same here. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you.